As it sits right now, my LandCruiser has cost me over $160,000, and for a 70 series, that is a low budget build. It has the aerodynamics of a brick, the turning circle of a cruise ship, and technology from a base model 1980s cheap car. So on paper, buying a LandCruiser 70 series is a very bad financial decision. But why do we all love them so much? In this video, I'm going to tell you the brutal truth about living day to day in the suburbs with this as my only car. 35,000 kilometers, 22,000 miles, and 18 months of daily use for normal life. Work, meetings, school runs, shopping, and everything you need your only car to do. I'm going to share with you everything I hate about this car and everything I love and adore about my 79 series LandCruiser, so you can decide if you should get one for yourself and live the Australian dream. But before we get into it, if you appreciate honest reviews that aren't paid advertisements, please hit that subscribe button for me because it helps me keep this channel independent so you can get honest feedback and reviews. Let's start with what I hate about the Cruiser, because living with this car daily is a logistical nightmare. First, the size. It is much larger than what it looks like in photos and videos. At 2.4 meters high and 5.6 meters long, you will find that you can't really fit into most car parks and garages. And there is genuinely a reason for that. It's not just an observation. The LandCruiser is larger than the legal size required for a car park in Australia, as stated in the Australian standard AS 2890.1. And this, of course, is assuming that you can get into the car park with the height limitations of this car. But the real killer is actually the turning circle. And let me give you an idea to help you visualize how that looks. My previous car was a 2019 Toyota Supra, and that had a turning circle of 10.4 meters. This LandCruiser needs 14.4 meters to do that same turn. That is a 38% difference, or 4 meters or 13 feet for my American friends that you need of extra space to make that same turn. And you can forget about doing U-turns. That's not the problem. Getting in and out of car park spots or driving some tight streets is the real problem, and it's sometimes impossible to do with this car. But even if you do have the space to make these turns, there is no visibility. You work on imagination only with this car. The factory mirrors are non-adjustable unless you're on the highway, where they are self-adjusting due to the wind, and there are no cameras and no sensors. I had to install aftermarket towing mirrors and cameras just to see where I'm going. And then there is the cost to run this thing. The fuel economy, weight, and aerodynamics aren't really its forte, so every trip you go on, expect to spend hundreds of dollars filling up diesel, and because it's a commercial vehicle, you have to service it every 6 months or 10,000 kilometers, and you have to actually replace the wheel bearings every 20,000 kilometers. So it really does bleed money. However, this is on top of the actual setup cost, which is even more astronomical. Even doing most of the work myself at a budget, the build owes me over $160,000, and that is Porsche money. And for that money, you don't really get much either. In the top spec model, you get power windows, fabric seats, and carpets. Yes, power windows are a thing in 2025. And something that nobody tells you on YouTube, not even the dealership tells you when you buy the car, is that the LandCruisers don't come from factory with child seat mounting points. So if you do have kids, you can factor in another $1,500 to have a rated mount installed and engineered so you can get the kids in the car. The seats themselves, however, for the adults are uncomfortable, and without adding aftermarket armrests, a long trip physically hurts you. The car inside is loud, and as we tested in the last video, at 110 kilometers an hour, the cabin noise is similar to sitting next to a vacuum cleaner. For the nearly $100,000 that you pay just for the car itself from new, empty without any fit out, you get a manual wind-up antenna from the 1970s, where if you forget to put it up, you get no radio for the whole trip. And if you forget to put it down when you park the car, you risk somebody snapping it off. And you also get 2 speakers from your dad's old Hilux that reminds you of school pickups and drop-offs. No digital radio in this bad boy, but luckily you do get CarPlay and Android Auto. Finally, on the negatives is the driving experience and safety. It is not an easy car to drive safely in traffic at all. Reviewers say that the steering feel is vague and there's a lot of play. I think it's more accurately described as a huge delay between what you want the car to do and what the car does. Everything is delayed considerably: steering, acceleration, and braking. And on the subject of the brakes, they are really scary. You will struggle to stop this thing in an emergency. There is just not enough hydraulic pressure in the system to reach the grip of the tires, so a brake upgrade here is an absolute must for safety, and the best part of it is actually the handbrake. People joke about the LandCruiser handbrake being useless, but it genuinely doesn't work, and it's not an exaggeration. So then you have to go and get a handbrake upgrade as well, adding to the cost. But that's not really a problem here since you can't park it anywhere anyway. If it can fit in a car park spot, half of the car can be stolen with a 10mm spanner, and the other half can be broken into with a fork, so it's always living in the garage or being driven. So for the negatives, it is expensive, dangerous, loud, and incredibly hard to park. Logically, I should hate it. But here's the biggest twist. I absolutely love this car, and it's not just me. My kids and wife love it too, and here is why. It starts off with the road presence. When I drive my wife's Tesla, people cut me off, they don't give me way, and you really do feel hated on the road. In the LandCruiser, people actually wave, give you thumbs up. As soon as you indicate, people give you way and you feel loved. Maybe they think I'm going out to hunt crocodiles or wrestle a bull or something. But there's also the peace of mind, especially for someone like me who's grown up driving lowered sports cars. Potholes, rough roads, debris, you just drive over them and you don't really feel any bumps on the road. Because you have big tires and a big bull bar, you stop scanning the road for damage and you just drive without caring much. And it does sound very cliche, but the capability is really unmatched. Last March, I was driving to the Brisbane 4x4 show just after a cyclone hit. The highway was closed and the only way from Sydney to Brisbane was inland through some rather interesting flooded roads and river crossings. On the way there were so many people stranded that had to turn back to Sydney. But in my case, I just drove straight through the water, through any deep ruts, and it was like nothing was there. Starlink on the car, tent on the roof, food and drink in the fridge, and I had all of my emergency gear on hand. I felt like I could really just go anywhere without having a single worry in the world. And if it's late at night and you're too tired to drive, just pull over and sleep in a random forest like what I did on my way back from Melbourne last time. If you miss a petrol station, no problem, you have extra diesel in the jerry can at the back. And if you have stepped in some mud by accident or the kids have made a mess of themselves, wash them down. You have a water tank in the back of the tray. Don't even need to plan it. You know you can drive over anything and sleep anywhere. So it makes driving and trips absolutely stress and hassle free. But in saying that, my absolute favorite thing about my LandCruiser is that it transformed my family life. Weekends aren't spent watching the kids play on their iPads or watching TV. We can go anywhere, anytime without much planning or notice at all. We just put some food and drinks in the fridge, throw some pies or food in the oven, and start driving. And this big steel box creates the most amazing memories. I have never camped before this car, but now we try to camp as often as we can, and we're always looking for a new place to explore. As soon as we sit inside of the car, there are smiles all around because we feel like we're on a holiday and we feel like we're going on an adventure. And I absolutely credit this amazing LandCruiser for it because it makes you want to live the lifestyle that it was designed to provide because it just does it so well. The people you meet on your travels are absolutely amazing and the community is incredible. Everybody is friendly, everybody's happy, and everybody's supportive. There's a lot of aftermarket support with endless amounts of workshops and modifications, and everybody is genuinely really good to deal with. And everything you buy for the car, for the most part, fits and works very well too. The car itself reminds me of being 17 again, when all I wanted to do was wash my car, modify it, and drive it just for the sake of going anywhere and just for the sake of driving the car. So, here is the conclusion after 35,000 kilometers and 18 months of ownership. The LandCruiser 79 series is the best, worst car I have ever owned. Logically, it's overpriced, under-equipped, and impractical for 99% of the population. I have to take Ubers and public transport to go to meetings because I physically can't go there with this car. But emotionally, it is my favorite car that I have ever owned. It makes me happy every time I see it. It makes me happy every time I drive it. And when I turn that key, I feel like I'm going on an adventure to explore some new part of the world, and I'm going to bring back some amazing stories to tell my family if they're not with me. And the smiles on my kids' faces every time they get in the car and every time they go on an adventure is worth every single cent this car has ever cost me. So if you have always imagined getting a 70 series and living the Australian dream, just do it. You pay once, you cry once, and the rest is going to be all smiles from that point on with no regrets at all, like I have found. And if you have found value in this video, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button for me to keep me motivated to keep making content like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.